passion. We can make love like an act of God.
Yo, what's up guys, it's Bakes here. Welcome back to a new video, and today we are going to the 4th episode of our podcast on the JTS channel. We are joined by the two other people that we record with. We have Shane and Tom. How you doing, boys?
I'm doing well, mate.
Yep, doing good, thanks. How you doing?
Yeah, not bad, not bad. So today, the topic of subject is going to be our England 23-man squad going into the Euros. Now, this is a very controversial subject, so I'm pretty certain a lot of our viewers will have opinions on this as well. So make sure to drop your 23-man squad down in the comments, and one of us will reply with the account. But really, let's just get straight into it, I suppose. So we're going to go from goalkeepers downwards.
Makes sense.
23 men. Yeah?
Yeah.
So who wants to go first? Who wants to... Should I go first as the host?
Go for it. It's all yours, mate.
All right, so what are we doing? Are we doing the three goalies and then everything like that?
If we,
Or
if
one
we
by
do
one?
goalkeeper, right back, centre back, blah blah blah.
Right, we're doing our 23. So I'll go with the three goalies and we'll go down defence and all that stuff. So, okay, right. My three goalkeepers going to Euros. I'm going to go with Nick Pope, Jordan Pickford, and this was a hard one for me in the third one. It's toss up between two, but I decided to go with Dean Henderson just because of the way he performed last year.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know whether you guys have got the same. I don't know whether there's much competition with the goalies, but yeah, they're my three.
I mean, I've took Pickford, Henderson, and Pope as well.
Yeah.
And I've broken the rules because I've taken two. I didn't take three.
Ooh.
Because
Ooh.
I don't think we need three keepers, if I'm honest.
My dad was saying that, yeah.
So I've taken Pope and Pickford. I like Henderson. I think, like you said, Henderson, pretty much most times he's performed recently, has done really well. But I don't think we need three keepers. And if I had to drop one, I'd drop him just because he's not playing as much football as the others. And as much as I like him, I think Pickford at times has shown he's been quite important for England. So I've cheated and I've taken two.
Yeah, I think that's quite big when it comes to England. Like, Pickford is a lot better for England than he is for Everton.
Yeah, I'd agree.
And when people say, oh, why is Pickford starting for England, blah, 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 but he hasn't really done anything wrong for England. Whereas when it comes to Everton, he isn't so reliable. But I think he hasn't done anything wrong for Southgate not to pick him, in his eyes.
I can understand that. Yeah, I get that. I agree.
Yeah, I rate your thing for going with two goalkeepers. That's what I never understood. Why do we need three? Because rarely you don't get two injured keepers. But anyway, that's how it goes. Defenders, I'm going to run through my defenders now, and then you guys can say yours. So mine, I've gone with Trent. So the two right backs I've gone with Trent and Walker.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like they deserve to start, and Walker's obviously quite versatile. The two left backs, I think, have cemented themselves already. I've gone with Chilwell and Shaw. Mainly because them two are performing massively at the moment. And the three centre backs I'm taking is Maguire, Stones, and Ezri Konsa.
Ezri Konsa, okay, from Villa.
From Aston Villa, yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah, my footballing knowledge is not up to date.
We've thrown you in the deep end of it, Ish. haven't we?
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Like, I'm always happy to express the truth and see what flows about.
To be fair, though, any opinions and opinions. So.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no, I
exactly.
agree.
For myself personally, I've put in Trent, Walker, Stones, Gomez, Chilwell, Wan-Bissaka as my defenders. I think that's a very saturated defence, and it's quite young, quite healthy. I think that'll do the job, personally.
Yeah.
Okay.
The only thing Wan-Bissaka hasn't got a call up yet, but it's a bit weird, isn't it?
Yeah. I had Wan-Bissaka in mind, and I changed him like last minute to someone else. But I've got Trent, and I changed Wan-Bissaka. I changed him for Reece James because I think for England,
Yeah, that's another
I think he's very good. The only issue with that is I think him and Trent are quite similar in the fact that they're both, I would say, better going forward than they are going back. Both really good at crossing stuff. But I changed Wan-Bissaka for James last minute. I've gone with Maguire, Stones, and Tarkowski because I think Tarkowski has been pretty good recently. I nearly went with Ben Mee, but I went with Tarkowski just because I quite like Tarkowski. I think he's a good player. And then I've got Luke Shaw and Chilwell. Now, I had Walker as well, but I took Walker out. I don't really know why, but I think it's because I wanted other players for other positions, and I was running out of positions. But yeah, those are my defence. So I think that's what
very different.
Yeah,
Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've got 7 defenders.
Yeah, I've got 7 as well.
I think I've got 6.
The thing I went with Konza is just because he's been so good next to Mings. I feel like he's made Mings a better player to get called up. I feel like he deserves to get called up himself.
Yeah, Mings was a close one for me because I think Mings is a decent player and has been okay for England when we haven't really had that somebody to go next to Maguire. I think Mings has done all right, but I just think Stones has been so good. And I think Maguire probably won't get dropped. And I think for England, Maguire has been better than he had been for United recently, I guess.
Yeah,
but although Maguire's not doing bad now.
I think the media kills Maguire a lot because I feel like he's very... I won't say underrated because he's been £80 million, but I don't think he's as bad as the media put him out to be.
As soon as you go for £80 million and you make one mistake, everyone's just on you.
Yeah, and the fact he's playing alongside Bailly, he's very injury prone. Lindelof, who is just awful. So, it's what it is. Right, my midfielders. I've decided to go with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've gone with 7 midfielders. With my inclusions, a lot of people probably say you can't take all of these, but I can. So I've gone with Henderson, and I'd use Henderson as the captain. Just because a title-winning team, I think he just should be captain. I don't think you should have a forward who's a captain. Personally, it can't be as vocal, and I think Henderson is very vocal. You can see that. I've gone with Declan Rice. I rate Rice. I think when I watched him against Man City, he was actually exceptional, to be honest. I didn't used to rate him, but he's been one of my people. I've gone with Saka. I think deserves to get in the team. Very good with Arsenal. Mason Mount, Jack Grealish, Phil Foden, and Maddison. So I've included all of them.
Yeah, no, I hear that.
We need creativity in this team. We can't be playing Winks and Rice. I'm sorry, but we're gonna get nowhere with that.
Oh yeah. I mean, for my midfield anyway, I picked Sterling, Henderson, Winks, Saka, Maddison, Grealish, and Ali.
Okay.
I think that's
Ali's a wild card.
Yeah, but he's still a good player, to say the least. Like even though he does play for Spurs, and I hate Spurs, I just think he's still up there. I think he's one of the best.
I had Ali and took him out, so we've had some similarities here. Now, as a player that I don't know if either of you said that's in mine, and it surprises me a little bit, but my midfield, so I've gone with Henderson, and I agree, I'd probably make him captain. I've got Rice, I've got Mount, I've got Foden. I don't know if anyone said Foden.
I said Foden.
You said Foden. I was going to say, I was surprised that no one said Foden. I've also got Maddison in there as well, and I've got Grealish. I've got Saka, and I've got Calvin Phillips. I was going to put in Winks, and I thought the comment section would slew me if I did. So I put Calvin Phillips just because...
You got Rice as well?
Yeah, and I've got Rice. So that's my extra... My goalkeeper, I've gained an extra midfielder. I just think that Phillips can offer something a little bit different. And when he's on it, I think since going into the Prem, in the Championship, I'll be honest, I thought he was very overhyped. I didn't really see the Rice fandom at all, especially when he played against us. He was pretty naff in both games. But in the Prem, I think he's been very, very good. And I think that first game he played for England, I thought he was really good as well. So I thought, you know what? If he was fully fit and everything, if he still is or whatever, I would probably take Phillips as that extra option. I'm not the biggest fan of him, but I think he can do something for us potentially. I just think his passing's pretty good from that sort of deep role. So
yeah,
that's my midfield.
I just don't like his haircut.
It's just his haircut. Oh man.
Right, my forwards. I've gone with Jadon Sancho, Marcus Rashford, Raheem Sterling, Harry Kane, Dominic Calvert-Lewin, and Mikel Antonio. I think the only reason I've included Antonio, I think, is if he's kind of... Because I think Calvert-Lewin is kind of like a light replacement for Kane.
Yeah.
The way he could probably hold up a ball, score goals, knows where the net is. Whereas Antonio's a bit more diverse. If we're winning a game or we're drawing a game, we need a bit more up front. You can bring Antonio, he can hold the ball up, play out wide, link with the wide men, whip the balls into it. It's a bit different with how Harry Kane would probably play from playing off the number 10. I think Antonio could probably hold it up himself and just bring other players into the game more. Say if we're playing Phil Foden and Grealish or Henderson or something, Antonio will probably do a better job of bringing them players in. And I think he deserves it. I think he's had a good season. And where West Ham are, it speaks volumes. And I think he's one of them players that propelled them there. So I think he deserves to go. Will he go? Probably not, because of small club genders and stuff. Not saying West Ham are a small club. If you're a West Ham fan, don't attack me. But it's just generally not a top 6. They're not the top 6 club, are they? So,
Yeah.
you know.
Well, for my forwards anyway, I've gone with Rashford, Kane, Sancho, Watkins, and DCL, Dominic Calvert-Lewin.
So no Sterling.
No, Sterling's in my midfield.
Oh, okay. I was going to say. I was like, hold on a minute.
I wouldn't personally play Sterling as a forward. I don't think he's necessarily that consistent in front of goal. I feel like he does more damage down the wing because obviously he's very quick. Obviously he's talented as a baller, but I just wouldn't play him personally like near like the front two. I'd rather have him out wide. Like for example, with Rashford and Kane. Obviously Kane has had an unbelievable season so far. Rashford again talented, very clinical in front of goal. I think Rashford and Kane as my starting two. I think that would be a great duo up top, personally.
Yeah, it'd be different as well because we don't normally play 2 up top.
Yeah.
We play 1 up top. We played 1 up top with a 5 at the back, I think, with Sterling off Kane, I think it was, in the last World Cup, and he had 5 at the back.
Obviously, talking about formations, if I was manager of this team, I'd play a 4-4-2, personally.
Yeah, so Wenger and Eriksen back at the helm.
Well, my forwards, I've gone with very similar to sort of what you both said. I've gone with Sterling, Kane, Rashford, and Calvert-Lewin. I've only taken 4 forwards. With, again, sort of like talking, you've got someone like Grealish that I've got from before, Saka, players who can play that bit more advanced. Oh, and Sancho.
Yeah.
I forgot Sancho. Yeah. I have got 5. But yeah, I would say that, the players who got there, kind of like what James said with the Antonio, my thought process was Rashford would kind of be that player. So Rashford would be the person that moves centrally, and then you have Sancho would come in, or Foden play a little bit more advanced. It's, we've got the options in the midfield to kind of rotate it a little bit. I think 4-4-2 wouldn't be a bad shout if we were playing 2 up top. Otherwise, I'd probably assume we'd play like a 4-5-1. So sort of like 2 holder midfielders in someone like Henderson and Rice, and then creativity with, someone like Mount, Foden, whoever, with the wide players either side as well. So I think we've all gone with relatively similar teams, if I'm being honest. I'd say there's a lot of players that probably overlap. But I think we're blessed in some positions with multiple players. There are some positions that are maybe like, okay, we could do with a couple more players coming through, but a lot of the positions I think we're pretty blessed, to be fair.
Right back, we are blessed in a lot of positions, but when it's left back, we only really got 2 good left backs.
Yeah, and Shaw's been a little bit inconsistent. He's doing well at the moment. He's holding Tellez out the team, who was signed with all this promise and stuff, and Shaw's kind of stepped up since Tellez has joined, if anything. But yeah. I would agree. I think there's a couple of places that's a little bit, I wouldn't even say suspect, but like for me, for example, centre back, I feel like we're a little bit light. Like Stone's obviously coming through now, doing really well. Maguire on the majority doing okay. After that, we all kind of had different people. It was all very like it could be any of these guys because no one really breaks through. For example, no one really picked Connor Cody, who isn't a bad player, but I don't think he quite.
I just don't think he should fit into England team. I think you got to look at how the season's going as well with like the other centre backs.
Yeah. Because
obviously Wolves have not been the greatest at the back this season.
Agreed.
Obviously, I think Aston Villa have been very good, so that's the only reason why I did include Konza. I think he's, in my eyes, the reason I didn't include him because he's different, and Joe Gomez has been injured for most of the season. Obviously, we've done this the case that it is our 23. We haven't done it as if players, because at the moment England are stiff for injuries.
Yeah.
So it's always our Euros when we come into it. Like there's players like Harvey Barnes who was injured, who could be a good asset to this team. Like there's always injuries that happen for England. I won't be surprised if Kane gets injured.
That would be our luck, wouldn't it? That would be our luck.
Yeah, but it does always happen with England. We always get that one player who gets injured going into tournaments. Like I think who was it? I can't remember who got injured in the World Cup, but Loftus-Cheek got brought in as like a wild card. There was that one player we never expect to come in that does get brought in. But regarding formations, nice. I decided to go with 3-4-3.
Okay, yeah. I think that makes sense.
I think that worked in the World Cup, so why change it? It could play a 4-2-3-1 as well with the players we have, but I decided to go Pope in net. I'm going to go through my starting 11. I've gone with Pope in goal. I think he's better than Pickford, and it's just my preference. Obviously, Pickford hasn't really done much wrong for England, but I think Pope just is an exceptional goalie. My three centre backs, I've gone with Kyle Walker on the right. I've got Maguire in the middle and Stones on the left. Because obviously Walker played that role in the World Cup, and I don't think he done too bad. And he offers that pace, done that pace next to Maguire as well to cover him, as he'll probably be that like sweeper Maguire. I've gone with Trent on the right as like a right wing back, Chilwell on the left wing back, and in the middle. This was hard, so I've gone with Henderson because I think Henderson's a vital member to England's squad just to keep it tick and everything like that. But the next position next to him, do you go with a defensive player? Do you go with an attacking player? If you're going to go with that attacking player, do you include Mount? Do you include Grealish, Maddison, Foden? But I've decided to go with Mount. I haven't rated him in the past, but I think what he's doing for Chelsea at the moment is incredible. I think he's had a good season. As well as Foden's had a good season as well as Grealish and Maddison. I think Maddison needs that a bit more consistency in his game, score more goals and get more assists to get a start. I'll definitely take him. Foden, obviously, I wish he could start, but I think at the moment, Mount maybe offers a little bit more in the centre of the park than what Foden would. I think Foden's probably better higher up the pitch. So, I don't know. Then my wingers, I've gone with Sterling and Rashford, and I've gone with Kane through the middle.
I think that makes sense. And like you say, it's similar to what did work for us. And I think the players you've taken fit that kind of perfectly. And I agree with that sort of, that second midfielder. That's where we're massively blessed for options because, again, I'd agree that Mount is probably the sort of best central attacking midfielder we have right now in regards to form and sort of this season, how he's playing. But then you look at the other options you've taken, you think, well, they're all pretty good too. So I agree with that. I think it's a good formation. I like that. Good start in 11.
No, fair enough. Well, as I mentioned earlier, I'd go with a 4-4-2, starting with Pickford in goal. My starting right back would be Trent. Personally, a great young fullback, very talented, strong, very good. The two centre backs I went with is Gomez and Stones. Personally, I think I just take Maguire. So Maguire's never going in my starting 11 if I was ever to run the team. Left back, I've gone with Chilwell. Personally, he's an amazing fullback. Expect big things from him. Personally.
What are you saying for the rest of it? What's your midfield?
What about the midfield? Is that you just taking them?
He's just taken 5. He's going 5.
part of the bus.
No, I had a brain fart there. Right mid, I'd start Bukayo. He's just he's had a phenomenal season at Arsenal so far. Again, very talented. Two CDMs. I've gone with Winks and Henderson. Of course, Henderson being the captain, personally. He's just all-round leader, and I think he'll control the midfield very well.
Just hang on, Shane, one sec. Just for everyone if everyone's watching this, we do know Kane's the current captain. We're not idiots. We just think Henderson should be the captain.
And we are going to forgive Shane for taking Winks, not just for taking him, but also starting him. Right.
I think that. Winks is good. Okay. Even though being an Arsenal fan, as I said, I hate Spurs, but he's very good. Left mid, I've gone with Raheem, the Dream, Sterling. And then my front two is obviously Harry Kane and Marcus Rashford.
Fair enough. I think that's the main noticeable thing is a slightly more defensive midfield, I'd say. It's the main thing from...
The personal thing is, I think Henderson will get much more forward than what Winks will. Personally, like if Henderson pushes up, Winks will drop in, and it'll be similar to like a 4-1-4-1 sort of thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because then you could drop either Rashford behind Kane.
The only weakness within my team, I'd say, is because for Liverpool, I think Henderson's been a lot better when Fabinho plays in that CDM role and Henderson can play to the right of him because he can get forward and back, be like box to box. And he has started scoring and added goals to his game.
Yeah.
Like he scored a goals against Southampton, Tottenham and stuff. Whereas if he plays that deep role, as I would have him next to Mount, it could leave us a bit exposed because he hasn't played that so much. That's the only worry with my team, but I think that with players like Walker at the back and Chilwell and Trent are wing backs, I think if it was me running this team, the wing backs would be a bit more inverted. So say if Chilwell had the ball, he'd come, Alexander will come in to add the extra centre mid.
Yeah.
So that's how I'd run that. I think that would probably work better. But if Henderson was to run that box-to-box role, then I probably would play Rice just to sit. But, yeah.
Well, I'll be honest, mine's a sort of similar system, but it kind of goes one of two ways. But I'd probably run a 4-5-1. So I can't decide who I'd start. I think I would start Pope, but I wouldn't be upset either way. I'd have Trent at right back. I'd have Maguire and Stones as centre backs. And I think I'd probably start Shaw for now, just because of how attacking my team is with the midfield and attack. And I just think that Shaw is a little bit more defensive-minded than Chilwell. I think Chilwell gets up the pitch a little bit more. But again, I happily would go with either. But I think I'd go with Shaw just for what I'm playing. It would either be one CDM and two cams, or two CDMs and a cam. But the preferable one would be one CDM, and that would be Henderson. But like you said, with it being him getting forward a lot more at the moment, that could be where it would lead to being a problem. But for the sake of this being an easier explanation, Henderson would be the CDM. The two cams I'd go with at the moment would definitely be Mount, and then I would go with probably Foden. But I wouldn't be upset if that was Maddison or Grealish or whoever. But I'm going to say Mount and then Foden as like the two cams. On the left, I would go with Sterling. On the right, I'd go with Rashford, and then up top, I'd go with Kane.
Yeah.
The only change I would make is if I was going to a 4-5-1 with two CDMs, I'd probably take Foden out and put in Rice and have Mount as like the only cam. But I just think with how we're playing at the moment, you know, with Sterling, Rashford, if they were bombing it down the wings, you've got Trent going up there as well. Plenty of like balls into the box and stuff, plenty of crosses, plenty of chances working out wide and cutting in. If you had someone like Foden and Mount sort of in and around the edge of the box, you've got plenty of options to sort of cut it back to them, and it's almost kind of like playing with a striker and then two men kind of just behind him. Also, Rashford can cut in and be that second striker. Sterling can play behind the striker. So I just think it's quite a sort of versatile system. And Mount and Foden both got quite good work rates anyway, so I would hope that they would sort of come back and sort of play as CMs instead of cams when we're at possession, so sort of be that a little bit deeper. But yeah, I just think it kind of fits with the players that we have.
You've entered another podcast.
Yes, Daryl, let's
Come
go.
here now. It's my editing week. Come here.
Love it. He's in.
You just entered, so you can't leave now.
I've unentered and I went to again in a minute.
All right, cool, whatever.
He's
Hello,
just gonna get his intro music.
Love him. That's what it is.
He wants to be a guest on this podcast.
It's got to make it happen. We've got to make it happen.
Yeah, that's a good system. To be fair, I rate that.
Yeah, I
The
think it's
4-5-1
versatile.
kind of does work as same as if you had three at the back with the midfielders.
Yeah, I mean
But-
that would work in like regards to my thought process. There would be the fullback would probably cut into like being a DM or like a midfielder, and Henderson would drop into the back three, because we've kind of seen that. Okay, he's not the best at centre back, but he's able to do that.
He's capable.
Yeah. So it's kind of like with QPR with Cameron, right? So he's not the best centre back, but when he's with two other people who are pretty good at it. No, but do you know what I mean? Like, he's not the best centre back, but when he's with two people that are capable of doing it, he can kind of fill in.
I wouldn't even say he's capable. I'd say he's just there.
Henderson is a better player than Cameron, by the way. Before I get absolutely slew for that as well.
But
okay. You know what I mean.
Yeah. Okay. I've made like a little list of like fringes / mentions.
Okay.
That could be on the bus or the plane or on the bus, because I think it's going to be in England this year, isn't it?
It is,
UK, Ireland, or whatever.
I think it's just in England.
Yeah, so I've decided to go with Alex McCarthy, as if we had to choose another keeper. I think he played very well at the start of the season with Southampton. The team's kind of dropped off. But I think he possibly could if one of the others get injured, because they will take three keepers no matter what.
Sadly.
I've gone with Reece James. Obviously, I didn't include him, but I think if another player like them do drop out, I think Reece James could possibly play, maybe over Walker, depending on how Walker's form is, because he's in and out the team with City because of obviously Cancelo playing well, Zinchenko on the other side. I've gone with Mings. What? it's my fringes / mentions. I've done my England team. Fringes. He's getting involved. I gone with Tyrone Mings as I mentioned. I think he's been quite good for Villa this year alongside Konza. Obviously he's banned at the moment, 10-month ban I think it is for betting, but I think Trippier has to be considered. I just think he is good for England. If he can't get, obviously, I don't think he's going to get ahead of Trent, Reece James, Walker, Wan-Bissaka. Well, actually, maybe get ahead of Wan-Bissaka. But I'm Trippier. Obviously, he's injured, but I'll go Harvey Barnes.
Yep.
I think he does offer a bit from the left. He's
do you
a
know
bit
how long that
different.
injury's for?
No, but it looked quite serious.
I wasn't sure how long time it was, but it looked like it was going to be a little bit lengthy.
Yeah. Mason Greenwood.
Yeah.
Could be a mention. No one really including Mason Greenwood. I think he hasn't been on fire really this season for Man United, but could offer something different off the bench if we need a goal. He knows where the goal is and does score. I've gone with Joe Gomez as another one. What do you mean? What? You come in here and do your England team. No, but we're saying if they weren't injured, our 23 mentions. Piss off. Joe Gomez, I think he's a bit suspect when he's not next to Van Dijk, but for England we're not really best in centre backs. The next 5, then I'll go with. It's quite a shock, but I think Jesse Lingard's playing well recently, and he could be someone to include.
Yeah.
I think England. I think Lingard actually does a job for England. So I think Lingard, if he carries on, could get included just because Southgate does like him and he's done well in the last World Cup. Obviously, Dele Alli. I've gone Patrick Bamford. What is he laughing? I'm going Patrick Bamford. He actually knows where the goal is and he could be another option to Kane. And a lot of people are not really including Patrick Bamford. I think he could actually be a good addition. Ollie Watkins.
Every time you say a player your dad does not agree with, he's having none of it, mate.
And then I've gone with Eric Dyer. But they're my mentions or fringes. There's a lot of more players could have included, like Wan-Bissaka and that, but I think they've been of form of late, them lot.
Yeah, I think one of the standout ones for me there, honestly, would probably be Lingard. I think one of the main reasons is just his age a little bit as well. Like, we've got most of us are in quite a young squad. So
he's at 27 now, isn't he? 28?
Yeah,
27?
so he's a little bit older. Okay, he hasn't played masses of game time in the last couple of years, but since going to West Ham, he's shown that he can score. He's shown that he does know what he's on about. He knows what he's doing. And like you say, with someone that Southgate does like, normally those kind of players make it in regardless of massively looking at form. Someone like Tammy Abraham as well, none of us mentioned. I think he's a player that does okay for England. I think to say he offers something different, I don't think would be entirely true. I think he offers something a little bit similar to what we've already got. But I don't think Abraham's necessarily a bad player. I think he's just somebody who hasn't had loads of game time, would be the main thing for me. But I think we're just quite lucky on the majority to have some pretty good players. Like I said before, the only other sort of centre-back that none of us have really mentioned would be maybe Ben Mee, but that would be him or Tarkowski in my opinion. And somebody I think time will tell to see how good he does abroad is Tomori. See if Tomori can get some game time at AC Milan, see if he can do well. And he might be a potential interim player at some point, but again, that I think time will tell on how he does over at Italy as to whether he's someone that would maybe sneak in the future or, again, for Euros if he does well in the meantime.
Yeah, it's interesting because Tomori could be that player if Walker don't go to cover that place. Because our defence in general is quite slow. I know Stones isn't the quickest, but he got that intelligence. I think next to Diaz, they kind of formed that partnership where they've got the intelligence where to be at the right time. I think he's made it. I think they were saying the other day when they were playing or something, he's made a lot more blocks, interceptions this year. So he's like a bit better at reading the game.
Yeah,
and I think Stones is a good centre back. One, he just does. When he's prone to mistakes, he makes them up, mistake after mistake after mistake. Like, he cost us against Croatia by not picking his man up from a throw-in.
Yeah.
And that led on to him giving the ball away against Netherlands, and we lost that game in the UEFA Nations League. And ever since then, he was just bombed out the team because he didn't really deserve and wasn't playing. And he's kind of got that resurgence back at Man City, and I think you have to take him, and I think he does start. Whether a 2 with Maguire and Stones would work, I just don't think England is suited to a 2 now. With the fullbacks we have, I think we do need that one player because it's a very modern thing to have that centre right back or a left back as a centre back. Say Azpilicueta with Chelsea, you've got Cresswell, who plays at a left centre back for West Ham now. I think even Cresswell could be someone we can mention. He's been a very good left back this season for West Ham. No one's even mentioned him. He's a very good player.
Yeah, I think again he goes under the radar a little bit. I think And again, this is no disrespect to West Ham, but they're kind of doing their business without people necessarily realising it. Yeah, like
you look at the table,
like,
West Ham are fourth.
Exactly,
Oh, okay.
it's mental. Like you don't. It doesn't really process to me that they're doing as well as they are. I reckon that we try our best to convince Souček to become like English. I think that'd be a pretty good move for us. I don't know the legalities of it, but I reckon we should give it a try. Because imagine that, mate. Souček, done. I think we'd win the Euros. Not
Very English name.
Yeah.
His first name's Thomas. She's had an H to it.
Done. Someone get his birth certificate. Go on. But no, again, I think Cresswell wouldn't be an awful shout. I think in my head, because he's a left back, but he's been playing as a centre back, like you said, I kind of overlooked him. I'll be honest with you. I don't think I've really thought about him. But I don't think he'd be a bad
play
shout.
that role, but Walker could play.
Yeah.
Stones on the right.
And he's getting more game time than Walker is at the moment, so maybe just a little bit more match sharp in that.
Yeah. Have you got anything else to add, Shane? Any fringes or mentions? Or?
Mate, I'm going to be honest, my footballing knowledge isn't quite up to date with what you two have in common. So anything I say, like, obviously the team, obviously whoever we take, hopefully we have a good opportunity to go forward and drive for some success this year. Hopefully we can just overall just perform well and
normally we bottle tournaments, but
exactly. I mean, when we lost, when was it? A couple of years ago. I'm trying to think back to when it was.
2018, I think. Right?
Yeah, I think it was 2018 when we lost. Like we were saying, oh yeah, it's coming home, blah blah blah. We need that belief in the team to motivate, to strive for what we want.
Yeah, it's mental as well how over 2 to 3 years how much the squad dynamic has changed.
Yeah.
Like there's so many players within them squads that just would not be included anymore. Like Danny Rose, like he's non-existent as a footballer now.
Yeah.
The players like Grealish, Foden, Maddison, Mount all coming in for the likes of Lingard, Ruben Loftus-Cheek. Like even Loftus-Cheek wasn't even playing that season, but somehow got in, and he was actually playing quite well, to be fair.
Yeah.
I've always liked Loftus-Cheek. I've always liked him.
When Ali got injured against, was it Panama? And I was kind of like, because he was playing Ali and Lingard off Kane, I think, at one point. And it was like, I was quite distraught when Ali got injured because I thought he was actually quite a good player. And I thought, oh, Loftus-Cheek's going to come in, that's not going to be really good. Obviously, we smacked Panama, but I think I could probably beat Panama by myself.
No disrespect to Panama fans.
No. Don't think anyone from Panama ever finds this podcast, ever. But yeah, I don't know. It really does depend. Yeah, it depends. The only thing when I look back on the World Cup and the system we played, when we did play a team who were at a decent standard, we did lose. Like Belgium, we lost to them. And Phil Jones is nowhere ever be anywhere near an England team again. Don't know how he even got in that World Cup team. It's ridiculous.
I think it just showed the lack of
centre backs.
Well, that, but also just the lack of sort of idea of a plan. I think we went to that without really having much of a plan. Whereas I feel like now with the players we've got, we've actually, hopefully, as long as Southgate actually bucks his idea up a little bit, because I don't massively rate him as the England manager, I'll be honest with you.
No, neither do I. I think he's, don't know how he's got that job.
I think we really do need to, we need someone else. I think we just need someone else to come in and really just take this team by the reins a little bit and actually come up with a bit of identity, because I don't think the team in the last couple of years have had any. Yeah, and I think that's where some of these new young players coming through, that will happen. Not necessarily a young player coming through, but someone like Stones, who's got that bit of grit, I think will be fantastic for us. If we get someone, again, I think it's why part of the reason I included Phillips, because I think Phillips would come in and actually show a bit of oomph about himself.
He's a nasty bloke.
Yeah, and as much as, again, I don't necessarily like not even his attitude, but I'm not the biggest fan of him. I think he's a very good player. I think he's done really well in the Premiership, and I think he would kind of fit into this team in specific games. I think he'd sort of be that deep play and sort of playmaker, because his distribution is fantastic. His ability to ping a pass is very, very good. But I just think we've got an exciting squad. I think we've got some good young talent that if they're looked after and if they're played in the right system, we could actually surprise a few teams. I think if this team was to have gone to the Euros last time around, I think we maybe, as in not back then, because obviously not all of these players would have already been cemented players, but if they were as they were now, like X amount of years ago, I honestly think we would have had a pretty decent chance of it. So I'm optimistic. I think we can do well. I think we've got plenty of like
Home
depth.
backing as well.
Yeah, exactly. And it should be that stadiums are open by then, so it should be plenty of home fans. You know, it'll be interesting. I think it's going to be an exciting watch. I think it will be a very good tournament, and I think the team that we have mentioned, if we were to take sort of the average of all of our teams we put in, I think it's a squad that can definitely go through plenty of the Euros. Win the whole thing, I don't know, but go through a fair stage, a fair way. I think we've got a very good chance of it.
Talking about the Euros, say if we're staying on a subject, if you had to pick a winner, who would you pick? If it wasn't England, obviously you want it to be England, but if it wasn't England, yeah.
As in, who do I want to win, or who do I think's going to win?
Who do you think would win if it wasn't England?
I think at the moment I'd have to back France. I think France have just got so many players. They've got so much depth. It's ridiculous.
They've got a bunch of youngsters as well, so...
Well, that's the thing. They've got so many youngsters coming through.
I've asked the question, but I have 3 different options.
Mm.
So I can't pick. It's either France, I think Belgium have a very good chance.
Mm-hmm.
Lukaku just... I can't see a defender handling with him. I think Lukaku's... He just... I don't know, it's weird. He just turns up. And I think Portugal... It might be Ronaldo's last Euros or World Cup. I think Ronaldo probably will play 2 more tournaments, I'm thinking. But if you look at Portugal's depth, my God, it's scary. But I think it'll be a good tournament. It's a lot of teams. I think Spain are probably fading away a bit now. I think a lot of the players are aging, like Ramos, Piqué, all that lot.
Yeah.
Not many centre backs coming through for Spain, really. So they can be left with Naffle. So good. Easier for us. But yeah. Concluding that, I think that it's been a good debate. Obviously, like I said, if there's anyone in the comments down below that you got your England team, put it down below. Don't slate us for our opinions, like the fact that Shane was gonna include Tavernier, but we will leave that out.
Curtis Jones
and Gozens. Don't forget Gozens. Up the Gozens.
But yeah.
God, man, amazing.
Wait, Gozens? He's German, isn't he?
Oh yeah.
We were actually going to cheat. What we're going to do? I mean, I was going to take Suchek.
It was going to be Rest of the World XI featuring England players.
Featuring
but,
England players, yeah.
We legally we can't do it.
Just bury me from the episode, and I'll be off.
Anyway, yeah, if we try to get at least 20 likes from this video, it'd be awesome. We're going to set a like target for every podcast, so if we get 20 likes. If you guys enjoy this podcast, please do share it with your friends if possible. Share it around. Get as many people in. We're going to have a goal. We're going to set a goal to try and get 200 subs by summer. We might as well set us a goal. It's a big goal, but, you know, we'll see if we can get there. Yeah, 20 likes from this. Thank you for watching. I've been Tom. I've been Tom.
Yes, he has been. Come on, let's go.
I've been James. Tom's been Tom. Shane's been Shane. And, yeah, I'll do Tom's outro. Why not? Look after yourselves. And, of course, wash your hands. See you in a bit.
You could be the muse to my passion. We can make love like an act of God. I just match my words.